Welcome to the Truth Wins podcast. This is episode 74, titled When Wokeness Backfires. My name is Todd Sherman. I'm your host. With me, as always, is Stu. Say hey, Stu.
Hey, Stu.
All right. Did you get some of those chips down? Are you able to get through the time to Stump Stew's time?
I hope so.
That's hard to say real fast. Time
to Stump Stew.
All right.
Fast.
All right. Well, now it is time to Stump Stew. All right. So Mick had some questions and statements. He says, how can you say that when there is the concept of hell? I'm not sure what he's saying but let's just go on and we'll figure it out. Some people say you'll be able to watch the torture. Can you imagine if it were your child? A person who led a loving, helpful life, but whose only sin was he didn't believe. No way is that merciful, just, or loving.
Okay. I wonder if Mick's last name is Jagger. I was just curious.
Dundee.
Or Dundee.
Dundee.
Mick Dundee from Australia.
That's right.
Good eye, mate. So, it's something I think that people have a lot of misconceptions about. He starts off with some people say. That's always a dangerous place to go, because that doesn't mean anything is true or correct that you're going to say after that. That you'll be able to watch the torture. Does that mean he's saying that as people who are in heaven, you'll be able to watch the torture of people in hell? Mm-hmm. Does he think there's a giant, like TV screen there in heaven that you can do?
We'd be laughing and pointing.
Yeah, and you'd be, oh, look at that guy. He's burning up over there.
Yeah.
We're making fun of this because this isn't true at all. I mean, this is not what it says in the Bible about heaven or about hell. Mm-hmm. Basically, people get to choose where they want to go. God gives people a choice. Mm-hmm. You have free will. So ending up in hell is always going to be your choice.
But to his point, if it were your child, which our last couple episodes too were about Doug's child, who apart from turning back to the Lord, will be separated from God for all eternity. I mean, that would be hard to know that your child's going there. So the biggest thing is, how can a just, merciful, and loving God send anybody to hell?
But he says a person who led a loving, helpful life. That's wrong in itself. People aren't loving naturally or helpful naturally. It's only when we come to realize that our own sinfulness and shortcomings need to be remedied or paid for or fixed somehow. There's something wrong with this universe, and we can tell it. We know it's wrong. But that is not true, that anyone leads that kind of life. And then he says, but whose only sin was he didn't believe in hell or didn't believe in God. It's like, that's not ever going to be anyone's only sin.
Yeah.
There's always going to be all of them.
Yeah. That's the key.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you. Time to Stump Stew. All right. Well, today we are talking about when wokeness backfires. As always, we want to talk about definitions, just in case your definition of being woke is different than what we're going to be talking about today. So here's, again, with definitions too, you can search and get all sorts of definitions. But what we're going with today...
Todd, could I give my definition first?
Give
my
me what your
definition
woke
is at about 1:30 in the morning, when the urge to go to the bathroom strikes me as an older gentleman, that I have to. That's my wokeness.
Yep, Stu woke to go pee-pee.
Yes.
So that is one definition, and if that's your definition, who am I to say that's wrong? But the right definition, as we know it, just in the last few years, I'm not even sure how long this terminology has been around, but I know, in 2020s when I started hearing it, all these people are woke. It's basically somebody who is well-informed, aware, up to date, knowing what's going on in the community and culture. So it's specifically in regards to racial and social discrimination and injustice. So basically, woke means consciously awake. Like, you and I are aware of all the different people groups, of all the different stuff going on out there that is, people who are discriminated against and oppressed, and we're aware of that and we care about it. That means we're woke.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting word that we've kind of pulled in and redefined to fit a culture.
Yes. So we're going to talk about today when it backfires, because all these people who are supposedly woke and say, hey, I'm so woke, I believe this, or I'm going to allow that. Well, eventually it comes back on them, and then they're kind of stuck. And the first one is, feminism has obviously been a movement around for quite a while. And for whatever reason, we started allowing them to vote about 100 years ago, and then it all went south
Todd
from
said
there.
that. I didn't. Todd said that.
Wait, you don't agree? Am I not being woke by saying that out loud?
Mary, that was I love you.
That was an inside thought. I probably should have. Obviously, I'm joking on the voting thing. But feminism is like women's rights. Women are oppressed, and certainly that has gone on throughout history.
And so, Todd, the old joke. How many feminists does it take to screw in a light bulb?
No, I don't know.
That's not funny.
That's true. We don't joke about that. It isn't. I mean, feminists are grumpy.
They tend to be.
They tend to be. Not all of them.
Yeah.
But pretty much most of them.
Yep.
Pretty much most all of them.
Unhappy.
Is that a word? Most all of them? All right. Now that we've offended all women and feminists all in one ball. But here's the thing is like feminists, we just want to be equal to the patriarchy, all these men just trying to hold us down stuff. And I get it. Yeah. Guys are pigs, and guys can be controlling. Guys can be, just very evil. It's like who does most of the evil stuff out there of control and power and starts wars?
Serial killers are mostly men. Yeah.
Yeah. So men are messed up, but so are women. Okay. We're both in bad shape. All right. Yeah. But it's easier to point out the other one's messed up than it is your own. But anyways, feminism is saying, hey, guys are bad. They're toxic. They're the cause of all the problems, which again, to their point, there's some good history to support that. But we just want women to be on equal and fair ground as the men is kind of the generic summary of what feminism is.
But yet they also tend to want to support the LGBTQ agenda, and because they think that's in their best interest. And then you find that by doing this, there's some strange things that come out of joining up with certain groups that aren't really the same as you are.
Yeah, because if you stand for nothing, then you fall for everything.
Right.
And eventually something's going to happen where you have to make a stand and a choice. And that's where they get in these catch-22. So specifically, there was a guy named Will Thomas who was a swimmer. He was a good swimmer. He was a collegiate swimmer at the University of Pennsylvania. He was in the mid 500 rankings. Most of you already heard of the name, but maybe you haven't heard of the name Will Thomas. So a year or two ago, he's in the middle of the pack. I don't know what mid 500s. I don't know if they rank up to 1,000, but he was in the mid 500s ranking in men's swimming. Well, some summer he decided he actually wanted to be a woman. And so now his name is Leah Thomas. He won the NCAA swimming championship. And he's just breaking record after record. So he went from 550th, let's say, to first, saying he was a man and now saying he is a female.
He switched teams.
Yeah. Yeah, he's batting on the other side of the plate now.
Yes.
And it's going well for him. He's basically batting 1,000 now as a woman. He's crushing records. Now, when he won the national championship for women's swimming, Virginia's Emma Wyant was second. Now, if he didn't say, now I'm a woman, this girl, Emma, who trained
the champion
her whole life, her dad and mom or whomever took her to swimming lessons and swim meets, and they did all that. She trained her whole life. She's the best of actual women out there with woman parts swimming, and yet now she's second because this guy says he's a woman now. Now, how does a feminist respond to this? How do they answer this thing? Is it okay or not?
Yeah, that's where you get into those catch-22s that come about because of faulty perception of reality.
Yeah. What if Emma was your daughter?
Yeah, that would make me very upset.
I mean, I don't know how her dad just sat back and said, oh, good for Leah. I'm glad the lady won by 38 seconds in this last meet. I mean, he's just crushing records.
And, I just figured out where he got the name Leah, because William, William, he took out,
Look at you, Sherlock, Captain Obvious over there. No, I'm teasing. All right, so I saw this great poster on, I think it was on Twitter the other day. It is this poster of this huge guy with moobs, and he's like throwing a discus or a shot put or something. It says, calling all mediocre males. Women's medals, records, scholarships, and sponsorships are now up for grabs. Live your dream by ruining theirs. Call the ACLU now to find out how you can get in on the action. Now, the ACLU finds itself in a lot of catch-22s lately as well.
Yeah. And I think it's, what is it, the Anti-Christian Liberties Union, right?
Yeah. In reality.
In reality, that's what they are. Anything that disagrees with leftist wokeness.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but you start to realize the poster is kind of making a joke, but it's satire in a way, because it's saying this is what will start to happen. People will start to think, hey, if I just switch and become a female, I could be a world champion, an Olympic medalist.
Yeah. Yeah, even my son, he's junior in high school. He was joking, I think he was even last night, about, maybe I should decide I'm a girl and then, win state championship and play at Division I college and all that. It's like, there's joking, but there are plenty that are like, all right, I guess I'm on the women's golf team next year. Because it's just going to happen. It's always that law of unintended consequences, right? You say, this is normal, or this is okay, or we're tolerant, and therefore anybody can think whatever they want. But eventually, they're going to be stepping on your toes. They're going to be on your lawn, and then you have a decision to make. So it's easier to say, no, this is insane. Why would we say that a guy who's been a guy his whole life is now a woman and can compete against other women?
Right. The emperor doesn't have any clothes on.
And before practice and after practice, is he in the same locker room?
Yeah.
Not with